Time. Do you have enough time? Time doesn't wait for anybody. Ever hear that expression? Or the expression that most of us walk around every day, especially at the end of the day, say, just not enough time. There's just not enough hours in the day. Let me share with you an important element of time. From the book of Ecclesiastes, that the King Solomon, after all of his life of living time, at the richest and the most wisest life, came up with this statement: there's a time for everything. Why do I say that to you? Because there is. You know, Matt Hyatt said to me one day, and I quoted this from his conference that I was at. He said, you can do anything you want. You just can't do everything you want to do. Have you ever felt that? We've got more choices now than ever before. I just watched a TED Talk just recently that talked about the challenge and the difficulty and the paralysis that too many choices cause us on a day-to-day basis. We're not meant to be able to make every decision at every level, but we can take our time and take it apart with priorities and roles of our life, goals of our life, and place them in an ideal week. I'm going to talk to you about that probably a lot this week. How to schedule your time. As Ecclesiastes says, there's a time for everything, and he goes down through the list in chapter 3 of all the things that you can put into your day without cramming it. Even having time to rest, time to play, time to enjoy a sunrise or a sunset, or go for a bike ride like I would love to do, or to take the time to share with my precious wife over a cup of coffee and not rush to get to work. There's a time for everything. But the prioritization and the necessity for you to place it in your day and to be disciplined to those things that you make the choice and commitment to is what we're going to talk about through this week. Time. There is time for everything that you desire and want and is important to you. But here's what happens. Here's what happens. In Steve Covey's, matrix, he has 4 quadrants. And the 4 quadrants are urgent and important and screaming at you. That's quadrant 1. Quadrant 2 is important, like my wife's coffee time. But it's not urgent. And so often, because it's not urgent, I can step over it. I can postpone it. Not good. Not good. But because it's important, it's not screaming at you, then it becomes really able to be changed in your schedule of time, unless your schedule of time has been created with a commitment by you and I to maintain it. Then there's the unimportant in quadrant 4. And then there's the things and the to-do things that are all around us that are necessary to understand time. But time is something that each and every one of us get the same measure. We're all equal. And time, for some people, it's amazing what they can do. They can just change the world. Well, so can you. If you take your time and you appropriately measure it. I'm going to share with you how to take the rocks in your life. Those are the big priorities, the big important individuals like my wife, like my family, like my health, like my spirit. The rocks in your life, and to place them in first into your schedule. Then the stones of your life, which are the things like work and other things that you need to do and have to, survive with. Then the sand that represents the minutia of to-do lists, and how does that fit in between the rocks and the stones? And then the water of the pleasantness of just enjoying the day with free time. I'm going to share this week how important that is to accomplish much. Because although you can do anything you want, you just can't do everything you want at one moment, at 1 week, in 1 year. But if you break it up appropriately, you will see your life-changing experience break through from being stressed, fearful, worried, running, exhausted, tired, doing too much of everything, from drinking to eating to whatever it might be that causes you a reaction from stress on your time. Because your time is not managed. Your time is not put proportionately into the rocks, stones, sand, and water theory that Ecclesiastes talks about and how important it is. Hey, listen, I don't want you to waste time. I want you to get ready for the day. Before you do anything, after you turn this off, share it, give me a thumbs up or a heart, and take a moment and look at your time for today. And if you want a challenge and an exercise to start this really well, and most of you know this because this is nothing new, but few of us are doing it or doing it correctly or doing it consistently. So here's what I want you to do. Take today and make it an inventory day. Start right now. Watching Jeffrey Paul at 7:30 to 7:45 or whatever the time is. Write it down. Just write it down. And then, throughout the day, jot down just quickly what is eating or using your time. What are you using? And I'm going to tell you something. You might find at the end of the day, you've used a lot of that time for the stones or the sand and probably maybe never attended to the rocks, the really important things, the rocks in your life that should be put into time that seem like there's no time for. And those are the important things in your life. Those are the husbands and wives and the children and your health and your spirit and relationship with God and all the very important things a day has. And then your projects and your goals. So take today and make it an inventory day, a consensus, a recording day, just on a piece of paper. And whatever it is, 10, 12, 14 hours, starting with right now, at 7:30, what did you do? And throughout the day, continue to jot it down. Don't worry if you miss one here or there, because the consensus of the day will be very clear to show you really what you did. And you know what? For all of you that are really high-level performers, it's not about just doing a lot of things and checking it off. It's checking the right things off and having enough margin time that you're enjoying life. Because what is a man that gains the whole world but loses his life? You've heard that scripture. Loses his life because he's so accomplished, he's so successful, he is so rich, he is so whatever it might be, but doesn't have a friend in the world, or doesn't have the intimacy of the relationships that he could have, or doesn't have the peace that only the relationship with God can give you. I want to share with you this week the power of time when used the way God designed it. Hey, it only took him 6 days to create this whole mass that we live called life. And then he rested. But he did one thing each day. Then he took the time to appreciate it. Check it out, Genesis. Then he took the appreciation of the moment at the end of the completion of that day and appreciated the day like you and I should do, counting our blessings, counting our accomplishments that are good, pleasing, and perfect, that measure up to the time of important rocks, stones, sand, and water. Looking forward to this week with you. And remember, I'm teasing you, but I'm continuing teasing you to get you ready. We're planning a wonderful workshop that you can participate right where you're at and begin to really put these things into an application of your life. I'll tell you continually more about it, but let me know you're interested in the comments below. Have a beautiful day. If you want more of this, you can go to my YouTube. It's right there. I've got it right there. See right there? Okay, and you can just punch it. I just want to welcome Peter and Janet and Kristen and Megan and all of you that are there. I just hope your day is filled with the time of joy, peace, accomplishment, fulfillment, and love. Have a beautiful day.